Welcome to the Parts and Training manual for teaching you how to use the program. What you see is the main screen after you log into the program. We're going to be going through the setup functions as well as showing how to enter vehicle information, customer information, how to add services and parts to an estimate, and then how to go ahead and print out information as well. So when you first get the program, you're going to want to go to Setup up at the top and go down to Defaults to open up the Defaults menu. In this menu, you'll go ahead and set up your particular tax rate, whatever it happens to be, and then select whether labor, miscellaneous, or your tax before the discount. You also set up your retail default billing per hour, whether you have miscellaneous fees and what those are going to be and what they apply to. If you have a standard percentage that you mark up your parts, you can go ahead and enter that. And then you can specify whether you have additional information that you want to assign statuses to and how you want to do your sorting and so forth. Then you just go ahead and click OK up at the top. The next thing that you're going to want to do is go back to Setup and then go down to Personnel. Clicking on Personnel, you'll be able to go ahead and add new people to the system. I'm going to go ahead and select one and we're going to edit it. Okay, you'll be able to specify the username and the password, the customer's name, address information, what type of person they are. For your mechanics, you're going to select either mechanic or technician. And then you're going to specify their hourly rate or their commission percentage. If an employee leaves you, you're going to want to open them back up and check mark the hidden box so that they don't show as available for the system to use in the future. You're also going to want to click on the Access tab and set the information as to what the employee can do. Normally, just your top people will want to be able to create employees. You may want to hide the labor rates for various people, set whether or not they can change and open systems, whether or not they can use any of the export functions. Go ahead and click on OK, and that's how you would go ahead and set up your personnel. Click Close to go back to the main screen. Next in your setup, what you're going to want to do is set up some information for use by the program. Primarily, you're going to set up your labor types. Here's where you set up your standard labor rate. We're going to click on New, and we're going to type in-house, set the rate at 60. And that's for dealing with vehicles that are considered part of your DMS, so that you'll have multiple rates that you can use. Your standard $75 for someone coming in off the street, your $60 for showing costs as for working with vehicles on your lot. You could also use it to set up full rates for different warranty companies. However many you need rates that you need to set up, you can do that here. Go ahead and click on Close when you're finished. Next in setup, what we're going to do is we're going to go to purchase orders. There's actually two ways of adding parts to the system. One is for the stock that your company wants to keep on hand. The other is for parts ordered for a particular vehicle when it comes in. That we will cover a little bit later. In order to enter stock into your inventory, you're going to want to create a purchase order. We're going to click on New. We're going to select the vendor from our list of vendors. We're going to click on Add an existing part. We're going to select the part number. Which will then pull up the description. We're going to say how many we order. We're going to specify what our cost is. And then if there's a tax on the item, we can click on the tax and specify what the tax is. Click OK, and it will come up the tax. For something that you're ordering for in-house, you can specify 0 for the rate so that it's not taxed. Okay. At this point, we click on OK. This is the only thing we're going to order from this company. You can order as many parts. You can go click on Create a New Part, specify a part number, a description, and again how many you're ordering. Click on OK. Okay. We're going to click on Save and close this. And then when the part comes in, we'll go back to Setup. We'll go back to Purchase Orders. We'll select our purchase order. We will edit the purchase order. We will select the switch. Edit the selected part. And then mark it as received. Okay. We can then put in the invoice number that came in, the check number that we used to pay for it, the RO number that it's going to be associated with if we need to. Go ahead and click on OK. If you have a multiple list of parts, you can and they all come in, you can check the mark as received and paid. And it will ask you for information on dealing with that. We're going to go ahead and click Save and close on this. Close on this. And then we can go to our setup and go to our parts inventory, and we'll be able to see that our Bessler switch, we can edit it, and we can see that the quantity has increased from where it is. It'll show what our cost was, given our markup, show what our selling price is. Okay. Once you get to a point where you don't want to use a part in your inventory anymore, you can uncheck the active checkbox down here and it will no longer show up in your list. Click on OK. Click on OK. That's how you get parts into your inventory. Once we have parts in our inventory, we can go to our setup, and then we can go to services. And we can now create services using those parts. For example, you can create a service ID, which is for a lube and oil for a Ford diesel. You can specify your shop billable and your billable amount. You can specify your retail parts and your labor that you're going to be charging the customer for that. If you're going to be using parts out of your inventory, you can select the part that you have defined by clicking on Add Part. Add the oil filter, and then add part, add the bulk oil and the quantity for that, so that you have all your costs and so forth set up for that. Then go ahead and close, and now you have a service identified that you can use on your billing. Go ahead and click on OK for that. We're also going to want to take a look at setting up outside vendors. You can just specify a vendor, click on Edit, fill out their information is all you'll need to do. Click on OK. Click on Close. These are the vendors that you're going to be subletting your work to if you sublet work. Also in your setup, you're going to want to be able to set up your warranty companies. You just specify the company, their information, and their website, a discount rate if you have a discount rate for them, and then click on OK. Once you have your parts on hand and your services defined, now you're going to be able to be working with the program itself. The way the program works is, number one, you're going to be able to select a vehicle that you've already worked on, or you're going to be able to select a vehicle from your DMS inventory, the Dealer Click program, or you can select a new vehicle for someone who comes in off the street for the first time and go ahead and enter their information. I'm going to go ahead and select a vehicle that we've already worked on. The same thing is going to work for the customer. Select the previous customer that you've already worked on their car. Select the customer from your DMS inventory. You'll be able to select someone that's from your inventory that you've worked on with and done a deal with. or for a new customer that's coming off the street. And you can fill out their insurance company information as well. I'm going to go ahead and select a previous customer. Okay. Once we have the customer information, at this point we can go down to the bottom and give a description of what the problem is. Then we can go ahead and save this and get this into the system. At this point we can go up to our forms and generate a preliminary estimate. This is going to give the customer's information, the vehicle information, the time information, what they said was wrong with the vehicle. If there's a preliminary estimate, it will show here, and then down at the bottom of it will be the terms and conditions that they need to sign and okay doing the work. Okay. Then you can go ahead and give a copy of that and assign it to a mechanic to work on. Okay. In order to give an estimate information on here, you can select from your employees an estimator to give the name of who gave it and then what the preliminary estimate amount is. And then go ahead and click on OK. At this point, now that you know what's wrong with the vehicle, you can then go ahead and begin to add parts. Say there was something wrong with the hoses on it, you'd be able to select the hose end out of your inventory. It'll show you your billable amount and your costs and how many. Click OK. Now it shows up on your screen. You'll see the amount being billed to the customer. You can scroll over and then see the amount for your costs as well. Come back to the beginning. We can then add a service. And this is going to represent the labor that goes into installing the item. You'll be able to assign it to your mechanic and for the hours that it's going to take to do that, which then shows your cost, and then your billable as either in-house or standard. It'll show you your cost and your retail. You click OK, and now you have the labor associated with it. In order to, let's say you need a part for this particular car that you don't keep on hand. You can click on Add Custom, go to Add Part and Material, select the vendor from your list of vendors, enter in their part number, your cost, what you're charging the customer, and then how many. Click OK. When the hose clamp arrives, you can go ahead and edit the part and go ahead and specify your invoice numbers and invoice dates and so forth for when the part comes in. Then you can either modify your previous labor rate or add an additional labor rate to deal with being able to install that part. Let's say that you need to send this car out for some work. You can click on Add Service. select a radiator work companies, go to a service ID. Then you'll be able to specify the cost that it was for that they charged you for this, okay? And then if your billable rate is going to be different from what you're getting, you'll be able to specify that. Click OK, and it comes in as a service that you see that you're billing to the customer, as well as you can see what you're billing to the for your costs. Okay. At this point, we can go ahead and save this. You'll see that it's given us a total labor rate of 90, parts for $400, sales tax, a subtotal, and then a grand total with your miscellaneous charge on top of that. We can then go ahead and save this, go to our forms, print out an estimate, which will allow us to specify a logo if you need a logo. It'll show your information for that, what the customer said was wrong, what you guys did to the car, as well as your totals and so forth. At this point, it's done, and what you can do is you can go ahead and print one of those out, give it to the customer. They can take it up to the front desk and take a payment on this. They can specify the amount of the payment. You can specify a deposit by taking a payment beforehand, however much is the total is for it. Specify the method that they're paying it. Specify a payment code if you have a payment code set up. And that's how you take care of that. Once the job is done, you can click on Job Complete down in the bottom. That clears everything so that you can't make any more changes to the billing. Go ahead and save that. And then if this happened to be for work done to a vehicle on your lot, you can actually go to File, Export the cost to DMS. What that's going to do is in the repair section for this particular stock number, it will go ahead and enter a repair record for that, which references this invoice number and then the total price. The detail will stay on this side of the system, but the information will also show as a reconditioning item for your vehicle so that your costs and profits show up correctly when you sell the vehicle on the DMS side. At this point, I'm going to show you that there are some reports, including parts, services, your mechanics labor, your profit report, purchase orders, parts orders, unpaid invoices, so that you can get the information out of the system that you need. Again, like all of our systems, they're fully customizable. If there's a report or a form that you need, we can go ahead and design those for you. Just ask our sales department to assist you with that. At this point, this concludes the training for the parts and service module.